Have you done anything?
Yeah, I've done one thing,
Okay.
which is I've been playing Hollow Knight on the Nintendo Switch. I've swapped Celeste for Hollow Knight at the moment,
Okay.
which
So
is
what is Hollow Knight?
it's a 2D, not platformer, but like a 2D game. It's similar to Dark Souls in terms of like difficulty, maybe not as difficult as Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne, but it's a game where you die a lot because it's hard, and you learn from your mistakes and get better as you play. And it's amazing because it's beautiful. The game is legitimately one of the most beautiful games I've played on Switch. Is
it 2D art?
Not pixel art, if that's what you were asking.
What?
Or do you mean it's 2D? It's not 3D models.
Right.
It's 2D.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Right, got you. I wasn't sure if you meant, is it pixel art? Which
No.
is another thing that's quite common, because Celeste is pixel art.
Yeah. No. I meant 2D.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 2D art. It's got a very, not hand-drawn feel, but I don't know how to describe the art style in it. It's just really pretty. And, like, you go to all these different environments in the game, and each one feels unique and, like, makes you feel a certain way. Like, there are levels that are set in, like, the sewers of this massive city.
Yeah.
And the music's very echoey, and the sound effects very echoey, and the art's very, like, dingy, and you feel it. And then you'll go to there's, like, an almost jungle area. It's not jungle, but it's very green.
Yeah.
And that area is very vibrant and feels very alive. And it's just amazing that they make you feel that not through... Because there's a story, but it's not told to you. It's very Dark Souls-y and Bloodborne in terms of, like, you can tell there is this story going on.
Yeah.
But you're figuring it out by either, like, looking at the background art and being like, oh, does that mean this? And you're sort of trying to figure it out yourself.
Right, yeah.
Which I love. It's also got... And this is... I don't know why I love it so much, but there is a certain character in it that, like, usually you'll find a character in this underground world and you'll, like, either save them from a situation and then they'll join you in this little town and they'll provide you a new service.
Okay.
Or they'll add something to the story. But there is a character that is literally just, she's in this really hard to get place, and if you get to her, she's just like, wait, you came to save me? But I thought everyone had forgotten about me. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. She's like this little pill bug thing, because you're all insect in this world. Sorry,
right,
I should have said that earlier.
Yeah.
So she's like this little, kind of, she looks very sort of chubby. She's a little pill bug, and she's all like, oh, you saved me. And then she goes back to your town, and all it unlocks is that if you go into her room, she's written a diary, and she has fallen madly in love with your character. And she's like, he's my saviour. You're this little tiny insect with a white mask. But you're a warrior, but you're smaller than all the other warriors in the world. And she just, like, describes you as this majestic hero saviour. And then the first time she came back, there's like a chance that she'll spawn sitting on this little bench in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
And I noticed last night that if you're like when she's sitting there, if you walk up to her, she just stares straight down at her feet and doesn't say anything. But she writes in her diary a lot about how, like, you went and sat next to her and all this. And then I noticed that if you get right to the edge of the screen and she's just about to disappear, the moment you get her to that position on the screen, she flicks her head up and just stares at you. And then when you come back on, she goes, eep, and just looks back down. And she is so adorable, Liam. And I have fallen in love with a little pill bug because she's so sweet. And I love it. It's honestly the most, like, in this really dark, gritty game, I love that there's this just adorable moment of this little bug insect thing being so madly in love with your little character. And it's beautiful. And it's shit like that in this game that makes this game fucking amazing. Like, just all these little things.
So what's the, like, actual gameplay? Like, is it combat heavy?
It's combat. It's exploring and combat.
Is it like Bloodborne type combat where it's sort of...
Well, there's no real dodging. It's more about, like, learning things, attack patterns, and, like, knowing that you can get in 2 hits when it does a certain move, and then trying to get out of the way of whatever it does next, and all that stuff. The exploring part's also really massive. Like, there are whole almost like puzzle rooms where there'll be, like, no enemies but spikes everywhere, and you've got to figure out the correct route. And some of those are really hard, and you've got to get your timings down perfectly to get through some of them.
Okay.
But honestly, it's one of those games. It's like Celeste, where when you fuck up, you're not penalised heavily. This penalises you more than Celeste does.
Yeah.
But, like, you don't get annoyed because you are progressing.
Okay. So,
like, I've not got to a point where
is kind of Bloodborne and Dark Souls and that, they are known for being annoying.
Yeah, because they're so hard that even though you're improving, you're still getting your ass kicked. Whereas this, a lot of the bosses have taken me like 2 tries and sometimes 3.
Yeah.
And some of them I'm like this, because you can fight a lot of the bosses whenever you want, and some of them you start fighting and you're like, oh, I can tell that I'm not ready for this boss yet.
Yeah.
And you don't get penalised for making that judgment call.
Is it like you can tell because like you'll do damage to it, but the damage will be like minuscule?
You don't see any health bars in this game, except your own. Nope. So it's more like the boss will just be doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and you're like, I'm not ready for this. And it's not even that your character isn't ready, like, I've not got enough health. It's just you're like, I'm not ready to fight this boss yet.
Yeah.
Because it's requiring too much of my...
Is there a levelling up system in the game, or how does your character progress in it?
You unlock skills by finding them. Like,
okay.
And so when you're walking through the world, like, right at the beginning, there's a lot of stuff where you'll see a doorway on the other side of a room, and there is no way for you to reach it because it's too high to jump up, and so you're just like, oh, I can't get there. So you'll then explore the rest of the world, keep going finding stuff, and eventually you find a dash move that lets you dash, and if you're in the air, you can dash. So then you're like, oh, I remember that room from earlier. Yeah. And I can now probably get there. So a lot of the game is like, you'll unlock an ability and then be like, oh, I sort of vaguely remember being stuck somewhere else earlier. So there's a lot of like going back and forth between different areas as you get ways to get to places. Okay. And at first, the exploring is not linear, but very like, there is a lot of stuff and I can't get to a lot of it. Yeah. But you get your 2 movement moves very early on, and they unlock a whole load of the world. Okay. And that's the funnest part of it, is the exploring. Yeah. Like, just going and being like...
And it's like a lot to explore, did you say?
Yeah, there is a lot to explore. Like, I think I've still got, like, either a third of the map or half the map still to find.
And how many hours have you put into it so far, do you think?
No idea. I play it on the way to work, and then the last few weekends I've been playing it quite a lot. Okay. So it's probably a fair few hours. Yeah. And I think I think I've just... maybe not the final boss, but I think I've just discovered what I need to beat to unlock the final boss. Right, okay. But I've only beaten 3 bosses in the game, and there are a shit ton more than that. Yeah. But are they optional, or like... Some are optional. Yeah, like a lot of the main ones aren't. Yeah. Like, there's ones that you have to beat to unlock the movement abilities and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, like, there's a couple... But even then, it's like, it's optional when you fight them. Okay. So... It's honestly very good. I'd give it like... Do I give it a 4.5? Yeah, I think I'd give it a 4.5. It's up there with Celeste. I love them both equally.
You're getting quite into like the indie style games at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying using the train journey to play these indie games that don't require me sitting down for hours.
But it does mean our dear sweet listeners aren't getting any of your world famous book reviews.
Yeah, it's been eating into my book time.
Yeah. Oh well, they'll just have to do with video game reviews instead.
Yeah, sorry listeners.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope, that's me.